Hey, it's MK, and I am hanging out with Paw Your Way into Our Hearts Little Gang, and I'm also following along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. This is the sketch that we will be working with today by T. Kaheki, and I just cannot wait to use it for today. This is the single photo that I am going to be using instead of two horizontal photos. I'm also only making an 8.5 by 11 layout today. I have this little leftover piece. I believe it's from a Amy Tan thicker set, and then I have this set here that is by Heidi Swap, and I'm going to use the word babes just because it's for my puppies. Now, I pulled out these 3 flare by Scrapping Happy Studio, and unfortunately they are not going to make it on the layout because technically we're not playing anymore. We're actually we just got home and my dogs were pooped, so that's where they fell down as soon as we came home, and I was getting myself something to drink. I also have a viewfinder and some ribbon that was left over on my desk, and then a few miscellaneous items, chipboard and cut aparts and things like that from the No Limits collection by Coco Vanilla. I also have this sticker sheet that I, sad to say, put off to the side and completely forget about. I have a really old, close to my heart wood grain that's probably several years old and retired. And then from the No Limits collection from Coco Vanilla, I have this piece right here. It's called Nebula. So I'm only going to be using the star side, though I won't be, well, yeah, I use both. And then also from close to my heart, probably about the same time frame as the other wood grain, I have this beautiful blue wood grain that is from the My Reflections Seaside. That tells you how old that is. They don't even offer My Reflections anymore, and it's from 2014. Oh my god. So I told you, it's really super old, but wood grain never goes bad. All right, so I'm going to cut down my wood grain to 8.5 by 11. It's going to be serve as my base piece. And then I'm going to cut my star paper down, I think to 5.5 or maybe 4.5, but that ends up being too big. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Whew, I'm sorry. That ends up being too big, but that's what I cut it down. And so then I end up with a frame once I'm done cutting around it. So I'm going to go ahead and just rip this instead of cut it, because I did want that jagged edge since I am talking about my rough and furry puppies. So I call them puppies, but the old man that's standing next to me, he is about 14 years old, maybe 13. And then my puppy, which is the one laying down on the ground and is so huge he can't even hold his head up anymore, he is 7. Is he 7? Yeah, he's 7. I'm sorry, you guys. We talk about it all the time of how old they are, and it's interesting how they age just like that. So my kids are fascinated by it, by the way. So it's a constant conversation in our house. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a 1/2 inch border all the way around this piece that I trimmed off. And so it ends up only being about a 4-inch piece rather than, well, maybe it's 4.5. I'm not really sure. But then instead of putting my photo up in the corner, I wanted a lot more of those stars to show. So for the border piece that is across the bottom of the sketch, I'm going to go ahead and use this border punch by Martha Stewart, and I can't remember the name of it. But I've had it for quite a while as well. Tools never go old, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out a border and then go ahead and tear that piece off as well, because of the fact that it's going to be covered up. You're not even going to see it. So once I get the yellow up on top and below, and it is a little off as far as the border goes, the color is a little off, but it is, it still serves a purpose. And the fact that the photo kind of separates the two yellows, the one in the printed stars and the one on the border, I don't think it's so noticeable. Like, it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So I like that. But as I was saying about the photo, this is just a photo of, we just got back from our walk, and this is a normal for us where I go into the kitchen to get some water, and they plop on the floor in front of the heater and just stay. Like they act like I worked them so hard. Yeah, it's hilarious. It makes me laugh every time, and I have to send a photo to my husband because he just doesn't believe me when I tell him that, we just got back from our walk and this is what they do. He just doesn't believe me. So anyways, once I figure out the right proper orientation of my photo, I am going to go ahead and take this viewfinder and put it into two different spots, so that way it represents the circle clusters that are in the sketch. I've got one over on the right side. It's kind of on top of the bottom photo, and then the other one is part of the title cluster, and that's going to be the exact same for me. And then over on the border, but it was up on top of the border, she had another circle cluster, and I went ahead and put it at the bottom right side of my entire page. So that way I had representation, especially since I moved my photo down quite a bit instead of putting it right in the upper left corner. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just lay out all of my pieces and see which way they go. I also have a bunch of fussy cutting around some of the stars. Now I left some of the stars wide bordered because I have one that is in chipboard, and I have to tell you, it is tough trying to trim down that big border on a chipboard piece. I have done it by actually just taking off the chipboard pieces and just keeping the cardstock image and then trimming it down that way. But I have to say that I wanted the different depths and thicknesses on my layout because this is pretty flat layout. So I'm going to go ahead and trim out the word that says babes. I just never thought when I was going to use that word ever. So I decided that this is a perfect time to use it. And then same with all of these ribbons and trims. I had them sitting on my desk for quite some time. And so I thought, you know what, this is perfect. And I actually like that pop of black going along the border down at the bottom as well as up at the top. So I'm making it look like it goes all the way down, in the vertical sense on the page, but it doesn't really. It just goes down to the bottom of the photo, or I'm sorry, to where the photo hits. So, and I do use some clear glue or some white glue to hold the ribbon in place permanently, but then I use washi tape so I didn't have to sit there and wait for the glue to dry. So that's it, just my extra little fingers that I have going on. And then this one here, surprisingly, the glue actually stuck really well. I thought I was going to have to put my photo down to hold that little piece in place, but it actually held quite well on its own without me having to, hold it down for a long time or putting washi tape behind it. So I was pretty impressed, but I didn't want to try my luck. So I still am using the washi tape until the glue settles and dries. And then I just had all these little weird circles. I think they were supposed to represent planets and things like that. Or galaxies and whatnot. But I had a bunch of weird circles, so I thought that I would layer them up. That way I had more circles in representation of what was on the sketch. I have this one little label that I just loved, this mustard yellow color. Plus one says, I also have another cut apart that says, "You're the best." So I thought that that was appropriate. And then most of the other objects or items that I had picked out, I really wasn't, they really didn't fit for my puppies per se, especially when it says "you're the best," or it mentions just singularity, when it doesn't talk about a group of boys or a group of people. It reads more as individual. So I really liked this XOXO because I do love my puppies. I call them puppies. They're not puppies, but I still like to call them my puppies. And then the word darling, I did not realize that I had it go up until I was watching the video and editing it. But yes, the word darling, which again is something that I probably would never have used on a layout at all. I had no clue that it was actually going at an angle going up, but I put the word babes going straight so that way it fills in that gap, almost like I did it on purpose so that way babes had a spot to snuggle into. But that really wasn't the case. I had no clue that I did it at an angle that big. Seeing it from where I sit and then seeing it from up above is two different angles. And so I didn't realize it was that wonky until actually editing the video. So now I'm just pulling off the pieces, the self-adhesive pieces from the chipboard. I do have to say that 9 times out of 10, that layer of chipboard actually comes off, as opposed to the adhesive paper, the protective paper from the adhesive doesn't. So that's why I was using my X-Acto knife to try to peel up just the adhesive paper and not actually rip off that layer of chipboard. And then I'm going to take these, well, they're like enamel dots, but they're puffy. They're kind of like, I don't know, they're shiny, puffy stuff. Actually, I think they are puffy. They're called puffy stickers, I think. And I just took all the circles. I left all the stars because I didn't have any more open stars. Now, I did have open stars that did not have any white border around them, but I felt like they got lost on the layout, so I chose not to use any of those. And I only had one of these blue stitched stars left, so I thought, oh, well, it'll work because it's open. Yep, I'm making stuff up now. And then I'm going to add just a very light touch of white sprinkles along the page, just to fill in the gaps where I felt like that was a little missing something. And that is the page for today. Please be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Paw Your Way into Our Hearts. There is a list down below of all of the people that are hanging out with us today. Also, too, there are 2 other links for Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. One is for the Facebook group, and the other one is for the playlist here on YouTube, if you want to go check out everyone else and what they are doing with these sketches. Thank you so much, T, for this amazing sketch for us to work with today. I had a blast creating with it, and I will check y'all later. Bye.